I think the first piece of advice for anyone applying for a graduate job is firstly apply for the organisations you really care about and the companies you really care about. I do a lot of the work at the moment with our internship programme and going through CVs and going through interviews, and I think the one thing you can really tell the difference about is somebody who's just sent their CV because they just want a job. What you're really looking for is that somebody who's got that real passion and that real interest and is able to demonstrate that during an interview.
My top interview tips would be firstly just to be relaxed. I think the more relaxed and confident in yourself you are in an interview, the better. It means that you don't panic or forget any answers you might have prepared or thought about. I think research the company, that's really important. You need to know what you're going into as much as possible.
Make sure you can talk about, 3 core reasons, 3 core factors as to why you'd be a good candidate for the organisation. And think about 3 core factors, for reasons to why you want to work for the organisation.
It's okay to be nervous. Just make sure that you don't let that overtake you. Your interviewers are going to know that you're nervous. It's an interview situation, it's natural. So just remember that they don't want you to fail. They really want to get to know you because essentially they have to like the person they're with.
Employers really appreciate someone who's inquisitive, and there are always going to be questions you have to ask them about the role that maybe aren't on the job brief, so don't be afraid to do that. And I think for languages students in particular, show that you've got those language skills even if it's not really relevant for the job, because it's, they're all transferable skills that you've learned at university, and I think they're well respected through every industry.
Interviews, sadly, they're not all just done on personality, they're on point scoring. So you have to get keywords in, even for Greggs the Bakers or for the BBC, you have to score points. So you have to make sure that before you go into an interview, you thought about the things they're going to ask you. So for example, for comedy, they're going to ask you about comedy because they want to know you're passionate. But they're also going to ask you about things like legal implications. So as you're working in media, you need to have knowledge of media law. You don't need to have done a course, you just need to make sure you look it up. Similarly, if you are going for writing and editing or even an online job like mine, you need to make sure you brush up on your subbing because they might give you a test. So for example, if you're going for a physics job, potentially they're going to test you out on knowledge of the area you're going to go into. So just make sure that you feel confident and ultimately feel passionate about what you're talking about.
One of the things I did when I was applying for the graduate scheme at MHP was to get to grips with all of the clients, look at all of the various pieces of work they've done over the last couple of years, but also to be able to identify the areas of the work that I'd really wanted to work on, and being able to showcase that in an interview really sets you apart because people realise that passion very early on in an interview.